in Vienna, here at Mira, at the very Miria, at this very beautiful atmosphere, together with my friend Gabriel. We have been probing this now, and it's very good. The connection is good, so you can hear me. You're all fine, and we saying yes to Ukraine. Obviously, a big Slava Ukraine here, and I'm very happy to be with you, my friend Gabriel. You're a hero. You did so much for Ukraine already, and I'm happy that you take time to come at the Günther Fellinger podcast here. We are live now on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn as well, and of course on X, and that's the most important. And we are talking today about the activity which Gabriel Hankel is doing since now 4 years. His moment of turning and this kind of conversion came 4 years ago. And I would like to introduce you Gabriel's activity now. And please, Gabriel, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Hello, my name is Gabriel Hengler. I'm Austrian. I live in Vienna. 4 years ago, 24th February, after my work, after my job, I went to the Russian embassy and was there. And because I want to find out, I want to see there are any demonstrations from Ukrainians, and there was a couple of Ukrainians, and they was not allowed to demonstrate in front of the Russian embassy in Vienna.
So 4 years ago, when the war started, this basically changed your life, and you decided to really go full into it, went directly towards the Russian embassy in Reisnerstraße and decided to make a protest against this terrible, illegal aggression war.
After this day, I was for a long time on every demonstration for Ukraine in Vienna. From the February to August, I was on every demonstration, and I met the organizers of the organization in Maria, Cariotti Brothers, Michaelo and Andrew, and helped them at this end of the year on many demonstrations.
These are two wonderful gentlemen. One of them, Andriotti Cariotti, is already on my podcast. Actually, you saw one of the interviews, and it was in German at that time. But he is one of the driving forces here of the fight for Ukraine here on the streets of Vienna, and has organized many, many protests already against the Russian interests in Vienna. And I really admire his courage and his stamina. His work is very good.
Excellent. And the Cariotti Brothers, they founded a public exhibition, the Labyrinth of Freedom. You can see photos of the war in Ukraine, subtitled with the famous Ukrainian music, really culture. It's a sad church music, church choir.
This is what Gabriel mainly does. This is a very important activity which Andriotti Cariotti and his brother have developed. This is basically, it's called Labyrinth of Freedom, a maze. It's a kind of a traveling exhibition, to really go in all European countries. And that is what Gabriel has done the last years, and traveling to spread the truth and the information about the Russian aggression. It's really wonderful work what you have done. Gabriel, I admire you for this, because it was not easy to travel to so many cities.
No,
in how many cities you have been in the last years?
I am counting after 100.
100 cities.
Small cities, bigger cities.
100 cities.
And in Europe, I am faster. When I count the countries I was not in Europe, it was Cyprus, Malta.
You should go to Cyprus
Ireland.
and Malta. And Cyprus and Malta should join NATO, by the way, just to make it very clear. I think on my podcast, you know that message already. But you have been in most of the continental Europe countries.
Yes, I was in all continental Europe countries.
Also in Northern Europe, also in Estonia, also in Poland. You are a hell of a guy, really. This Austrian guy is traveling all over Europe to tell the people in the streets what is the real situation in Ukraine, and trying to fight the fake news and all this kind of lies which Russia is spreading against Ukraine. this is Gabriel. You meet him next in your city, maybe, and please talk to him and show and to visit this exhibition. It's really worth going. Tell me about the exhibition. What you are actually showing to the people.
Yes, we put on printed banners and on public square, like a room you can go to walk in and out. Out. On the outside, you see photos of the war in Ukraine for children, and inside it's only for adults or children with the parents. As example, photos from crops or other war crimes. People who lose their hands and legs. The horrible day to day in Ukraine. Destroyed houses, destroyed buildings, and a wonderful timetable with a list of Russian aggressions and wars from 1990 until today.
So you show the real history. You show also the immense brutality of the Russian aggression, and you go into details there. And it's often graphic. It's often very hard for the families to see that. And often there's a certain fatigue. They don't watch news anymore. But then they still go on the city square, and you are there.
On other way, you can't open the eyes of the people with these horrible pictures.
And what's your experience in the last 4 years when you were talking to, I guess you talked to a lot of people there in English or German, you go and approach them, they
And in
come and have
French.
questions?
I speak also French.
Okay. And what's your experience? Are there people interested, or do they want to run away from the truth, or do they want to support Ukraine?
In every country and in every city, I met people they are for Ukraine or they are against Ukraine. I also met many people that I opened their mind. Also, people they say we have to talk with Putin, we have to talk with the Russians to end this war. My favorite story.
That's very often in Austria, actually, that somebody wants to talk to Putin. Even our chancellor and our politicians, they constantly want to talk to Putin as if that would be something to talk to.
Many Austrians, if they think about a problem, they don't think about exactly about the solutions. They think it's easy. No matters finish. No, many Austrians they are they are not so. They have no idea what it's Russia about Russia, the history of Russia, and how many how many people in Russia died out last 200 years. Also, I will go to Hungary with the exhibition to reach the people and open the mind. And when I read this brochure about the captured people in Russia, Russia is a colonial empire until today, and in past there was many Finno-Hungarian people in the country of the
Gabriel is a very fast guy. He jumps from topic to topic, but we will first talk about Austria because you are Austrian and there's a lot of ideas. There's a lot of ideas.
The story of Russia. Many Austrians don't understand what's going on in Russia, who Russia works, who the people are thinking. Many in Germany are less to Austria. As example, when I was was not in Austria, but it's the best story to explain what I mean. I was in Wolfsburg,
in Germany,
city in very famous for the German cars. I met a German. He said we have to talk with Russia, and then a Russian came and was with us for one moment. The night of, and his mother went away, and after this German understood who the Russians are. He understood more. When he met first time a Russian, he understand Russian people more.
So you have a real mission of education, and you try to teach the truth about the Russian aggression to the people in Germany, Austria, everywhere. Especially in
Yes,
Austria, there are very big myths like building bridges to Russia, you have to talk to Russia. Why is that in your view? Why is this kind of necessity in the Austrian psyche to talk to Russia, talk to Putin? Why is this so
because
big?
because many companies in Austria want to make business in Russia,
Mhm.
and during the Cold War, Austria was neutral.
It still unfortunately is.
I say we end on neutrality when we participate EU.
So when we joined the European Union, you think it's incompatible to be in NATO, to neutral and in the EU? Oh, very good. That
That's
makes me very happy. Gabriel, are you for NATO membership?
we you
Let's
can't
hope.
win an election and sell the voters in Austria a membership on in NATO. If you wanna do that in Austria, you will not win election. Sorry.
It's true. Gabriel, the thing is, when I was campaigning for NATO membership of Austria, I went to all Austrian cities, but I was not so brave to go to the main squares of the Austria. I went only into the press conference. You are really a courageous man because you go on the public squares and you discuss with the people. Didn't you have the feeling that a lot of people are really kind of aggressive as well?
If they become aggressive, I call police and I film and recover what they say. It's not my problem. It's their problem after. And as next,
And your demonstrations are always registered. You basically go as
I
an
am
official
I
demonstration.
am afraid to crash with my transport into a bicycle driver. I'm more afraid of them because they are in Germany many times they go on bike very mindless.
Uh-huh. So the biggest danger is not that some Russian is attacking you, but that the bicycle driver will jump. Of
No,
course, yeah,
it's
because you're mainly on pedestrian zones.
yes yes. I mean, if I go with my transport in a city and go on the street and a bicycle driver don't drive careful and don't
But
watch
aren't you afraid that
pedestrian.
the Secret Service of Russia is chasing you? Because you're one of the unique guys. You have to imagine. Gabriel is going to all European cities on the public squares with his labyrinth. And then I guess the FSB. Hello, FSB. Are you watching? He's certainly watching my podcast. So there's a own department in the FSB. So if they
I
didn't
know.
watch you now, they will watch you. So
I'm not afraid of them. I recognize them very soon.
okay, you have experience in that one. Huh? Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about your new venture because you have decided now to go to Hungary. Hungary is, of course, a big problem because they have their own language specifically, and in this language area, Orban is dominating all the information,
Mhm.
and he has won the last elections by fake news, and he's trying now again by anti-Ukrainian fake news to win the next elections. And it's important to penetrate the Hungarian information space. That's not easy because I guess you don't speak Hungarian.
At first, it's my mission to reach the people about the war in Ukraine and educate them with them officially, and it will also share flyers with informations about the war in Ukraine and the Hungarian history, and I build bridges with them. I'm also surprised. Last days, I did the registration in the police department in Hungary, and I'm very surprised how friendly the police work with me together. I am very surprised. I'm very excited to visit this beautiful country and met this beautiful and friendly people and see some of them together. I will love it and enjoy this, my time with the labyrinth very much. And I have one reason. I wanna, if anyone of you will support my activism, you can donate me and my organization for the tour, because also when we are in Germany or in Austria, we we earn enough donations.
So
That
Gabriel is
support.
basically now fundraising for his tour. You will go to many cities, not just in Budapest, but you
Not
go
just
to
in Budapest, also to the small cities,
how many cities you have planned? 10, 20?
around 20, and not also only in Hungary, also in the Hungarian cities in Slovakia, also the Hungarian cities in Romania.
Ah, very good. So we'll also go there where the voters are, basically. Now, during the election campaign,
I
Gabriel
also,
and his
yes,
team will go to all the Hungarian cities
yes,
and also in Slovakia, also in Romania. And there, with his labyrinth, with this kind of a traveling exhibition, he will basically tell the truth about Ukraine, about how the tragedy is unfolding, and in order to educate the Hungarian people in order to fight also the fake news which Orban is spreading there. This is very courageous, and you are not afraid that Orban's party will interdict your activities, send you back to Austria or something like that?
if I if I would go to Serbia, I
Mhm.
would be afraid because Serbia is not a part of EU. I also talked with my friends,
In
and
Serbia, I cannot recommend you to do this because I was in Serbia and did something like this 4 times, and they almost declared me to the enemy of the state in Serbia, and I got a lot of problems.
great
And
things.
that
So
is what I in Serbia you wouldn't do it.
Sedomir Stojkovic, if you see that, greetings from Vienna. We talked about.
Yeah, you talk Chedomir Stojkovic. Ah.
Yes, because I thought about to go with the laboratory to Subotica,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked in the group and in our team, but everybody was against my idea to go to Subotica because it's not EU.
Yeah, but nevertheless, Serbia is not a military dictatorship. The worst thing they can do, they can question you 4 hours at the border. That's what they can do. And they will question you, but they will not torture you in Serbia. It's not like this. But what can happen is that somebody beats you up, unfortunately. They have a lot of brutal bullies, and that's also not very pleasant experience.
My experience with police in Hungary was better to the police in Spain, as example.
Hmm. What happened in Spain?
At first, the police is allowed us to build up the labyrinth. Then, after the labyrinth stand, we have to build it away. And then they ask my colleagues, my two friends in my team, for the passport,
The passport, really? In
and
Spain?
because they have them with us,
You
and so
guys,
they
you know
put
that
them.
in Spain there is a socialist prime minister, and I really don't like him. I think you know that from my Twitter feed the last
It
days.
wasn't. It was in Madrid, the capital. It's another. It's like Vienna and the tourist region in Austria.
Mhm.
Madrid is
So you had negative experience in Spain.
yes, as example, and they put my colleagues on the police department because they had the passport in the transporter, not with his.
Ah, very bad. I'm sorry to hear.
Yes, as like they say to the police in the department, they haven't no one passport. They are illegal immigrants, and so after 1 hour discussion, they let them go.
We need change in Spain. Absolutely. No, Spain has to change. There is no doubt. Also, President Trump agrees on that one. We have seen it recently, but nevertheless. So in Hungary, because it's in the EU and you have a friendly experience. So
Oh yes,
actually, Austrians are not getting beaten up in Hungary, I guess. So nobody
so
will
that
hurt you.
if I see the police in Austria and in Hungary, I think as first the police in Hungary, the main reason is to protect people, and the police in Hungary, they say many Ukrainian women only with the children, and normally if you see that at a man or as a police, you will protect them against everything bad. Many of them they are very ambitious in Hungary, learn Hungary and language, or they speak English, That's why many people support Ukraine. Also, and also many police in Hungary, they are really kind of men, really gentlemen, and that's why I'm very very excited to go to Hungary. Of course I know there is many about Hungary, but it's not all true. Budapest, the capital of Hungary, is a very world open city.
So you will enjoy your stay in Hungary, and I hope it will work out very fine. I personally hope it would be good if Hungary is changing, because Hungary has made a lot of problems now with the veto against the 90 billion European loan for Ukraine. And Hungary has been constantly a little bit of pain in the backside in the last 4 years. Me personally, I went to Hungary in 2022 after the start of the full-scale invasion, because that was the last elections in Hungary, and I campaigned very heavily for the opposition leader there in order not to have Orban elected, and it would have been much better world if Orban wouldn't have been elected 4 years ago. But unfortunately, he is, and he was, and he created a lot of pain for Ukraine and for all Europeans. So I wish him to lose. But that will be not part of your activity, because you are cross-party. Everybody can join your information
Of
campaign.
course, yes.
But my opinion is clear. Yeah.
And when Orban is so against for Ukraine and so pro-Russian, why so many Ukrainians still live in Hungary?
Yeah, there's a lot of them as well, because it's close neighboring country, and of course
The
it's a wonderful
Ukrainians,
country, Hungary.
they could use for free long time the public transportations in Budapest, and many Ukrainians also they can use for free the train system in Hungary. So I would say thank you, Hungary, for helping Ukraine. Thank you so much. I know it was not so easy, but we will do our best for Europe.
There's also the opportunity, if you want to participate in this tour, support this tour. It's a wonderful activity, and it's very timely, because now when will you go? In March, end of March, beginning of April? How much time you will spend in Hungary?
Next week we start.
Next week, so what a timely interview that is, because next week already, and you will stay how long in Hungary?
Until 2nd of April.
Oh, that's basically 3 weeks, 4 weeks almost.
Under this video, we will find the tour dates, and maybe we will see each other in Budapest.
If you want to join, if you're, for example, a Hungarian who wants to promote the truth about Ukraine, help Ukraine, then it's a wonderful timing. You see the tour dates, and then you simply go to the city square when Gabriel and his team of the Labyrinth of Freedom are there, and you can join, make some selfies, make some videos. Also, because it's very important, I think, to share it on social media, that is activities in your own feeds, and in order
Donation
to
by PayPal.
donate. He wants also donation. Yeah,
Yes,
no, life is not for free.
I wanna translate and share this in Hungarian and to the Hungarian people, and it's not so. It's not for free. I can print it. I would love, but it's not for free, and it's in this magazine. The people will read about the Russian colonialism, about the Russian history.
We talk about that in a moment, but the situation is also that we have now the hope that there will be change in Hungary, change in Spain, and also we have to talk a little bit about Austria, because recently some ideas came up in the Austrian media as well to make it life for the Ukrainians in Austria harder. That was not very nice, and you have many Ukrainian friends. I see you often at the Vienna City Square also. You ask for donations, you fight for Ukrainians in Austria for the situation. And what's your take on that one? What do you think? Is it good to harden the situation, or should the Ukrainians be more welcome and better integrated here in Austria?
The Ukrainian people will be integrated in Austria. I'm not worried about. The problem I see is the political the political wind is blow from the right in Austria. Austria never was a social or liberal country. I am surprised. As Bruno Kreisky, a man with Israeli ancestors who lived in Sweden, could
That's not a historic personality, but today's situation is the situation still is that Austria, unfortunately, has been now in the last weeks the so-called Friends of Putin party. It's the pro-Russian party in Austria. They have been really, really very hard against the Ukrainians, and that was really shocking. I saw that Mrs. Meindl-Reisinger, the foreign minister, she just wanted to bring another 3 million, a very modest sum for a state as rich as Austria, and this exploded in the parliament in total hate against Ukraine, led by Herbert Kickl. It was really shocking. So after Hungary, you should make the same activity in Austria, I think.
I did 3 tours in Austria.
3 tours in Austria?
We was 50 times on the Stefan Square in Vienna.
50 times? You're almost every weekend then
on the every second weekend for 2023. And I think it's in Austria not so easy to reach the people, because the people who help Ukraine or understand the situation, you must not talk with them. But the problem is in Austria, we are a democracy in Austria, and the voice of someone with less education, far away from every city, and from a newspaper reader who reads a newspaper, I wanna talk in German. It's in English crown. Is this count the same to the professor of a university or entrepreneur?
Yeah, we have a big problem in Austria, unfortunately, for our English-speaking audience, that we have also a very difficult media landscape. That's also one of the problems. And unfortunately, a kind of anti-Ukrainian narrative is transported by our public TV very often. And that's why I always say X or F.
Of course, I'm surprised we was in news in a right conservative news in Austria one time. I was surprised.
Mm-hmm. Have you been a lot of coverage for your activities in the Austrian media? I mean, after all your activities for 4 years, you're standing on the public squares and you're promoting this. Have you been in ORF, for example, in our state broadcaster? Have you been invited?
Andrei Cariotti, he was in.
Yeah, he was quite sometimes.
But it's me, no.
And this Labyrinth, this activity was already presented?
No, it wasn't in.
So it's not just the Iranian opposition leaders in Vienna who are complaining about this very biased Austrian state TV, but also the Ukrainian activities here in Austria are not covered very well, because, or not at all actually, unfortunately, because there is a strict media bias by the state media, unfortunately. That must change. You were in the print media more often? In Zeitung newspapers?
In Austria, it was rare.
Yeah.
We was in Kärnten, in Tyrol, 2 times, in the Falter magazine.
Very good.
The reporter for a few weeks ago. But in other countries, there are so many more you can't imagine.
You got a lot of media response in other countries?
More than here.
Can you believe, again, it's another proof. I always explained to you already that the pro-Iranian demonstrations don't receive enough coverage, but it's the same with the Ukrainian and pro-Ukrainian. In other countries, it's very normal. You make an activity, the media reports about it. But in Austria, you make an activity 4 years of really. They have built this office here. They have made hundreds of demonstrations. They have done so much activities to help people concretely. But the media result is very limited because of this very tight, controlled media landscape we have in Austria, which is a sad reality.
It's also it's news it's behind the media's the organization and how could say
It's always the media owners and their economic interests often linked with Russia, and that's of course one
and the
big problem we have, and
and
politics behind it.
the public opinion.
We need to reform Austria. This is absolutely necessary as well. It will come.
The EU has more than 400 million citizens, and only 8 of them are Austrians, so I'm not worried about.
But we are important member state, 9 million Austrians, 450 million Europeans. We have some punching power to help Ukraine. And let's discuss a little bit about the battlefield, about the front line. How is everything going? What's your assessment for the war? Are you optimistic Ukraine will win in this war?
It depends by us all, by everything, how long the war is going on. If we help Ukraine with donations, when we vote for parties who help Ukraine more, or when we vote for parties.
Your vote is power, because if you vote for pro-Ukrainian parties, you can help Ukraine. This is very important.
At least you can all vote for a party who don't disturb in EU.
So please don't vote for anti-Ukrainian party. That's the minimum you can do, please.
And I'm also, there are many people in, and it's confusing. There are many people in far right parties helping Ukraine and support Ukraine, and there are people, politicians in far left parties. They are against Ukraine, or they are completely different. They want to deliver Ukraine more munition and weapons.
You see basically a kind of pro-Russian coalition in Austria and Germany and many other countries in the European Union of extreme left, extreme right. They are also against liberation of Iran, basically. And they are the same parties they are basically, I think, funded by Russia. It's not a surprise. We will find out everything about them. But they are both very adamantly against Ukraine, against the freedom for Iran, and it's absolutely disaster. Please don't vote for such guys. Please.
Yes, you see the real mind of these people. They are not for freedom. They are for
slavery, I would say.
Extremely, yes.
Absolutely.
Extremely, but the easier word for slavery is
submission to Putin. We won't.
Submission, yes.
Okay, Gabriel, that's wonderful activities. You're really a hero to do that, and what a commitment for the last 4 years. Now let's talk about your brochure and the freedom for the suppressed people of Russia, because that's also very important. You know, guys, I'm activist since 4 years for ex-Russia, and there's of course a big issue here, because inside Russia you see a lot of suppressed people. Oh, very good, the map. The map. That's very good. I'm so happy. You see the famous map. I think you can see it. Yeah, this is one of the versions which we have in this movement for ex-Russia. Or it's correct.
Order them. We can. That's if you support me, you can have one for free.
Okay. Here's also make Russia small again. Make Russia small again. The only solution is the Russian dissolution. Let's talk a bit about that one, yeah, and about the various nations which live inside Russia.
Yes.
What's your take on that? Have you been on some of the seminars and activities?
Yes, here in Vienna. There was a seminar here in this office from this organization, and we are shared this in our office, and I also shared them to friends of mine. They are often in discussions, political discussions.
Because here you see very well the freedom for the various peoples who are in the bunker of nations, which Russia is today. And you see, for example, there is somebody from Chechnya, of course. Yeah. Are you also supporting independence for Chechnya?
Of course.
Of course. Very good.
Best solution for Chechnya can't be participation of the Russian Empire. Best solution for Chechnya and on other countries must be a free and independent state. Also, if this would be happen, the Western states have to handle before other countries.
There's, for example, here Kalmykia, very important. It's at the Caspian Sea, and it should be also independent. Or there's, for example, from the Transbaikal.
And if you want to read this brochure personality or want to share them with your friends or use them in political discussions, I will share them in Hungary. I translate them in Hungarian language, and I will also share them so Hungarian people can use them in political discussions before the elections. And if you say, I want to support the Labyrinth, and I want to support the education of the people with them, please support me by PayPal.
And there's a lot of people who deserve your support. For example, Russia is putting a lot of the opposition activists in prison, and they are like political prisoners in today's Russia. And of course, they must be freed as well. And you see here Bashkiria, for example, this is one by one the opposition leaders of the independence movement of the post-Russian republics are here presented. For example, this is from there's somebody from Bashkiria again, and here you see, of course, from Sakha. This is very much in East Asia, in the Asian part of, and here you see, this is really a wonderful brochure. Yeah, it's very good. I like it. What's your take after the defeat of Russia? Will Russia be dismantled? Is it the plan to do that? You're in favor of that one?
We will see. There are two opportunities I see. Russia will still now exist on paper. Russia will split off in other countries. I would say Russia will exist together on paper, and because it's in interest of China and other countries to have Russia under their own hands.
This is a message I completely endorse because, as you know, since 2023, I'm activist for the dissolution of the Russian genocidal state. And of course, 41 new states is the best solution. We will be living in peace in Europe because we will have excellent relations with the successor nations. And it's the so-called Yugoslavian scenario for Russia, which I very much endorse. And here, for example, is the abn.org.ua from it's a Ukrainian website and activity Freedom for the Nations, and they explain all the things in great detail how to dissolve the Russian Federation after the liberation of Crimea and the reintegration of Crimea into Ukraine and of course in EU and NATO. Then of course the question will be for the succession of Putin because he has lost that terrible war and he will definitely lose it. And then the question is how to basically manage this post-Russian space. And we are very well prepared thanks to Gabriel and thanks to this movement. And this is basically, and Oleg Magaletsky, he has given already a podcast interview here on this podcast as well. And I will in the future interview all the leaders of the future independent nations of post-Russia and give them this opportunity to make the case for the independence of their states, and these states then joining the Council of Europe and the OSCE, and also then to be a nation built into peaceful states and members of the international community, because we never want east of us a state which is constantly threatening and attacking the European Union or our friends in Ukraine. Gabriel, what you do is really excellent. It's a really courageous thing what you are planning to do, to go to Hungary, to also contribute to the battle of truth and freedom in that beautiful city. I wish you all the best in this important endeavor, and please spread the gospel of freedom, the truth about Ukraine, and hopefully you will be very successful and Hungary will be free again. There's a gentleman, Peter Magyar. He is very good, by the way, and I really endorse him, and he is very good leader of, will be a very good future prime minister of Hungary. I will be so happy to see him. Gabriel, thanks a lot for coming to the podcast.
Thank you, Günther.
Good luck. And after you
Hello,
come
August.
back, we make another podcast here to see in end of April what was the situation, how it went, and maybe also when you are once in the city in the Stephansplatz with Labyrinth, we can make a live podcast as well and present the Labyrinth in all its dimension in order to educate as well the online audience about why it matters to support Ukraine, and also that Ukraine will win this war, and that the Russian myths are all fake and lies, and that the future of Russia is the dissolution of the Russian Empire into better, freer, nicer states with friendly relations with the European Union.
I will do my best.
I will say thank you again.
You're
Some
welcome.
great things to everybody. Hello, community of the free world. This was the Günther Fehlinger podcast. Thanks a lot for joining. Thanks a lot for watching. And please subscribe and give us a like as well on that one, and support Gabriel in his endeavor. And please also follow on all social media Gabriel and his Labyrinth of Freedom, Mira, the organization, and of course the Günther Fehlinger podcast says thank you very much. We are in the year of revolution, in the year of victory, and Slava Ukraine. And thanks a lot
Slava.
for watching. Bye. One and here.